Guardian. Guardian?
Eyesupsaf.
Eyes up, YouTube, and do we have a build for you today? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Arc Warlock build using Fallen Sunstar, and this build is absolutely nuts. Ability regeneration goes crazy, super damage goes crazy, everything on the battlefield just absolutely gets destroyed. And I want to show you guys that gameplay here today, so please enjoy this -40 Delta ultimate content utilizing the brand new build with the Bungie buffs. Let's go. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it does. Holy smokes, this is crazy. So, Bungie made a change to where the grenade stat now affects your Arc Souls as well as your Ionic Sentries and multiple buddies across the board. So, definitely subscribe if you guys have not already done so, because on this channel over the next few weeks, we're going to be covering all of the different buddy builds, including Verity's Brow, including Controverse Hold, including Getaway Artist. We're just going to look at them all, and we're going to update all of those builds. So if you guys haven't subscribed, definitely go ahead and do so, and I would much so appreciate it. But going into this particular build, we're using Fallen Sunstar. Now, before I quit Destiny 2, back when Final Shape came out, Fallen Sunstar was actually one of my favorite builds on Arc Warlock, and I had to go back to it. So Fallen Sunstar says, Ionic traces you create move faster and grants you additional ability energy. Nearby allies also gain energy when you collect an Ionic trace, so this is also good for fire team play. but this thing works absolutely nuts for the spam ability, and this build is all about spam. As you guys saw in the opening gameplay, we get our rift back extremely fast, we get our grenade back extremely fast, we get to create multiple ionic sentries out at the same time, and we also get our super back extremely fast. So let's go right into the build. So we are on the Stormcaller Arc Warlock subclass. Now I prefer to use Storm Trance. However, if you want to, you can use Chaos Reach. They're completely interchangeable. Up to you, no problem at all. Our grenade of choice is Pulse Grenade, but you can also run Storm Grenade, also completely up to you. Our aspects, however, Arc Soul and Ionic Sentry, we get to use both of these in the same build. They both got buffed and they're both insane right now. Going into the fragments, we are running Spark of Shock. This is an absolute must with the build. Just so you guys know, now all of the buddies scale with everything related to grenades. So that means your Arc Soul is jolting all of the targets on the field, as well as your Ionic Sentry. This feeds into the next thing, Spark of Ions. So defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with Bolt Charge creates Ionic Traces. So this allows us to just get more Ionic Traces. Then we're also running Spark of Discharge. So Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, and collecting an Ionic Trace gives you stacks of Bolt Charge. So this way we can continue to get Bolt Charge and get that extra arc damage. And then we're also using Spark of Frequency. So melee hits increase your equipped weapons reload speed and stability for a short duration. We don't really use our melee too much, but the most important part of this is while you're amplified, the effects are increased and you gain increased stacks of Bolt Charge from all sources. So this way, when we're collecting those Ionic Traces, instead of gaining 1 stack of Bolt Charge, we're now gaining 2. So this is absolutely insane for this build. And I will tell you this, I never thought that I would feel like Emperor Palpatine in a freaking Destiny game ever, but hey, Renegades is around the corner, so you never know. Now, going into the weapons of choice here, these are completely interchangeable, completely up to you, but there's tons of options. For our main weapon here, we're using Mint Retrograde. It's honestly one of the best options for anti-barrier, just because of how quickly it can burn a barrier shield, which is why I still personally use it. And you can also still leverage pack tactics with it using Threadling Proliferation from the artifact. So it's overall still a really great weapon. Now, I personally like to use Lodestar with this build, but there's many options. You have Trinity Ghoul, Lodestar, you can use Graviton Spike, you could use Unworthy if you want to. You could use Delicate Tomb if you want to. You can even use the new sidearm Unfall. So there's plenty of options that you can use here when it comes to your main arc weapon. Now, when it comes to my heavy weapon, however, I do like to use Opaque Hourglass. I feel like Opaque Hourglass is really good here. Now, I know this is tied to a raid, so not a lot of you might have this particular weapon, but if you do, slap it on. If you have a better roll than me, it's going to do even better than what I did. But again, this is absolutely nuts. Now, you can also use something like Boomslang 4FR if you want to, or any option for heavy. It doesn't even have to be an arc heavy weapon. You can use anything. So even if you wanted to throw on an Outrageous Fortune, or you wanted to use a sword, whatever you want. Completely up to you. Now, going into our stat distribution here, I wanted to get as close to 200 grenade as possible, but I absolutely couldn't make it happen with the gear that I have and with the stat rolls that I have. It's extremely difficult, especially on this build, because you have to run your Spark of Shock, which gives you -10. So it's a little difficult to get those numbers, but either way, 170, 160, even 180 is perfectly fine. I was really hoping to try to get to 180 so that my one grenade font would push me over to 200. But again, it doesn't really matter too much. As long as you're in that 160, 170 range, you're doing more than enough damage to cover everything and every type of content in the game. As you guys saw, we were at a -40 delta in Ultimate, which is, as you guys probably already know, beefy targets. They all had swords on them, so it's not like we were in some, easy content by any means. Then we're also running 120 on our super stat. I really do enjoy having more super damage, but also a lot of super regeneration. And as you guys saw in just that intro gameplay video, we got our super back multiple times from collecting Ionic Traces, from also just having the high super stat, so this works really well. And then we have 85 class because we do want to get our Arc Souls out as quickly as possible as well. Now, going into our armor, for our helmet, we are running double ashes to assets because our Arc Souls are now giving us bonus super energy. And we're also using a Harmonic Siphon just to create more orbs of power when using our arc weapons. In our arms, we're currently running 1 grenade font as well as 1 firepower and a bolstering detonation. In our chest piece, we're just using our normal resist mods. In our boots, we're running 1 better already. This is really our only source of healing in this build for survivability, as well as our rift, of course, but better already just helps to kind of have that added survivability when you have to get into the mix with the enemies. Then we're also using double innervation just for additional cooldown, but you can switch these. I was actually contemplating on turning these into 2 arc weapon surges, so that way we can get some more damage out of our opaque hourglass and our lodestar. So if you want to run 2 arc weapon surges with 1 better already, that's perfectly fine. We don't need 2 innervations in order to get our abilities back. And then in our bond, we're running time dilation, powerful attraction, as well as Reaper. Reaper is just another way for us to get as many orbs out on the field as possible, so that way we have more survivability options whenever we need it. Now, going into our artifact here, we are running Threadling Proliferation, as well as Pack Tactics, just because we are using a strand weapon, so it just adds a little bit of extra damage, but it's not necessary at all. The main thing that you want to use here for your artifact is Elemental Coalescence. So this allows us to create more ionic traces. And then you also want to use Elemental Overdrive. So when we collect those ionic traces, we get increased arc damage to our weapons. Then also you want to use Shield Crush. We're always going to be amplified with this build, which also increases our grenade recharge rate even more and allows them to deal more damage. But overall, that is the build, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I mentioned, we're going to have quite a few of these buddy builds that are going to be popping up on the channel over the next few weeks. I am super excited about this change. As a Warlock main, we finally got buffed. Can I get an amen in the comments, please? We finally got buffed to Oblivion. I will tell you that much. Like, we are probably the strongest class out of all the classes now. I don't know if you guys have even tried out any of this stuff, but Controverse Hold is insane. Verity's Brow with any of these buddy builds just amplify it even more. Getaway Artist on Prismatic is absolutely destroying every piece of content right now that I've tried it in. So we have so many different builds that we're going to be putting out over the next few weeks. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed and hit that notification bell, go ahead and do so, because I'm super excited about this. Anyway, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the build. Leave it in the comment section below what you thought and if you would change anything. And I appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.